The Portal2Cast.
Let the games begin.
In 3, 2...
Welcome to the Portal2Cast. Today is Monday Madness, where we submit a challenge to the community, and the community rises to that challenge. The rules for today's tests were, the theme was back to basics, and first you had to make a test that was no larger than the default chamber when you create a new test. The only exception was you could drop the floor of 1 cube if you wanted to put water, the death gel water. Second, you could use as many barriers as you wanted, including glass, fizzlers, laser grills, or grates. Any of those 4 barriers, you could make as many of them as you wanted. You could use up to 3 buttons and up to 4 test elements of any other kind. Not 4 test element types, but up to 4 elements of any kind. There were lots of good submissions to this, and you'll find a link to the entire collection in the description for this video. Even the ones that didn't make the cut for this video were very good for the most part, and I hope that you will enjoy them. The first test that I want to show for you actually was disqualified from the official test because the user submitted too many elements, even if you count laser catchers as buttons and laser relays as buttons, which is another way to consider them. He still had too many elements, but the test was so good that I want to give you a quick tour of it. And it was called Dual Sniping Test Number 2 by Upgrade. So a quick tour, even though this test didn't make the cut, it is definitely worth honorable mention. First, I like lots of clean lines, it's very well lit, it's very pretty. Upgrade did a nice job of making this test look nice, in addition to just being a good test. On top of that, among my favorite test types, which were part of the reasons for this challenge, were I love fizzlers, and you can see he's got 3 of them, and it's going to be hard to go anywhere and keep your portals, and that is the point of his test. It'll also be hard to go anywhere and keep your cubes, which is the point of this test. This test is actually fairly difficult. It's going to require a lot of accuracy and certainly thinking with portals. It seems, first off, that you're going to have a difficult time just because the first thing you have to do is not take the cube through or even try to make some kind of portal on both sides. Although I suspected that was the case. I'm not sure Upgrade knows about, I forget the official name I heard for this, but you can actually put 2 portals together. So one tip for Upgrade would be to make those non-portal walls, because you can cheese a test like that a little bit if you throw 2 portals next to each other like that. But the intended solution for this first part, and I won't solve the whole thing for you, is if you fire the laser back in there, I will do it legit, fire the laser back in there, that allows you to use it. Then what you will be stuck doing all night is trying to find the exact right angles for your lasers. So that one, for example, it takes a little bit of effort to find, except I already knew kind of how to aim it, but that activates that grill, which has turned off a couple of these other fizzlers and lets you snag this other cube. And had I been on that side of that grill, I could jump through that blue portal and go through. It's just a really good test that I hope you will try out and enjoy, despite the fact it didn't make the final cut. Some of the things that are important to me was the chamber well lit. Did the player have clear goals at the outset? Was it well laid out? Was it pretty? The third place test is actually 4 elements normal by Baxter. And Baxter has submitted an even harder version of this test, which kind of made me feel dumb because, to be honest with you, I have not solved this. I think it's a great test, and he's given enough here, enough early goals to make me trust him as a designer, feel like I have an idea where it's going, I just haven't put all the pieces together yet. So I'll give you a quick tour. There's laser grills above you, so you can't bounce straight up. There's this light bridge here, and you can use that to get on top of it. And obviously, towards where the exit is, over to our right over there, you can laser bridge out that way, but some way you'll have to get on top of it. The same is also true for the excursion funnel. Somehow you will have to get up there. And just traversing through, as you see, will not work because he's put this grill here. So he's given blue gel, which seems like a clue to get up higher in elevation. You'll notice that he only has portal walls on 2 planes, and it's the 2 planes facing each other, so you can't get gel straight across that way. There's no portal walls on the ceiling, there's no portal walls on the floor, so there's no flinging in here. This button reverses the beam, So that lets you get your gel to different parts of the map. Now, one thing I'm not sure whether he knows is that gel, while it appears on glass here this way, it can actually be used if you drop onto it, and that may be part of the purpose of the test. I wish he'd given a more continuous stream of gel is one criticism, because this test is hard enough without waiting for another gel from every time. So what I was alluding to before is you can jump in here, and then if you drop down, the blue gel works. And maybe that's the solution. I'm not actually sure, or maybe that's just something that he wasn't aware of, that the blue gel, it's a glitch in the game, I feel. I don't think that's intentional, because it seems like he has glassed over all these walls so you couldn't bounce off of them. And then in his harder version, that whole wall right there is also glassed off. So, and if you notice, if I jump right here, you can't get it. But I wonder if he knows about that glitch, and that's actually the solution. Overall, the test is fairly pretty. It's a little uncoordinated as far as the colors, and of course the blue gel everywhere is just going to make a mess. But it's a pretty chamber, certainly, when you walk into it, and certainly a lot of thought is going into it. So that is our third place. Our second place test is Challenge Test by Camerson1313. This is actually a co-op puzzle, and I penalized him one puzzle element for that, but he was still within the limit for the original challenge, and I actually thought it would be pretty hard to create a interesting co-op challenge under the restrictions that I gave. But he's done a fair job. So you have excursion funnel, blue gel, a shelf over there, and I will tell you that that button not only opens the exit, but it also removes the top layer of this grill, the fourth level of it. So you have this level over here, and what you're sort of meant to do is use this blue gel to propel onto here or onto here, either one works, and have your partner fling you up, so when you drop from the ceiling, you have enough height to bounce back up out of this thing and get over the wall, and in that way you can grab the excursion funnel. But what's actually a little bit easier, if my partner will demonstrate, when someone has two portal walls like this close together, you can actually cheese them. Just make one there and put the other one right on top of it. There you go. And then now you can see we actually have cheesed the first part of this test, and we're able to get by it. So one player takes advantage of this excursion funnel, however you get a hold of it, and comes up on this elevator here, and this little platform up here. And then the only execution part of this that's any trouble other than all that bouncing is whichever partner you send up here is going to have to be at least a little bit skilled in flinging, because you're going to have to jump off and immediately fling yourself over to the exit, because that is what that is for. And I missed the immediately part, but I am nevertheless here at the exit in time. Now the other player will have to be up on that platform before she does this, because otherwise she won't be able to excursion back up there. So she's back up there, and then if you drop this onto there, and I like that this designer has made it very easy to do that last portion. He's already given you a couple of challenges with flinging and whatnot, so very easy to get the cube. And now my partner can actually, what I would do is use my portals, but come right, yeah, you can use your own or you can use mine, but either way what you're going to do is jump right up this way. I hope you can see how this test works. It's not super difficult, but it is a fun little co-op puzzle, and it fell within our guidelines, so I want to tell Camerson1313 excellent job, and thanks for mapping. And that brings us to first place. The winner of this week's Monday Madness Challenge, Back to Basics, is Donderbus, and he has called this Simple Test. Although I think you will agree when you have a look at it that this test is anything but simple. He has taken my word at face value that you can use all the barriers you want. There's glass here, there's another set of glass 2 cubes higher. There are 3 activated laser grills and 2 more, if you can see, on the other side of the exit there. His puzzle elements are an excursion funnel and a cube, and his 3 buttons are that button, which opens the exit, this cube button, which switches between those outer laser drills, and when you remove the cube, the inner laser drills, and this pedestal button here, which simply raises the elevator. Now the first challenge you will face when you walk into this test, it's pretty obvious you want the cube so that you can go open the exit. As you can see, those are the only ant trails not lit up. So you're going to walk in, grab this cube, and hop on this elevator and hit the button, and when you get to the top, a nasty surprise is waiting for you. You're going to have to start over. So it's a little bit vicious, but challenging. If it were easy, it wouldn't be Portal 2 now, would it? So what I have found you can do with just a little bit of timing is activate the button and then just jump off the elevator and come on over here. Now with the cube off of its cube button, what you can do is that laser grill is off and only the interior laser grills by the exit are on. And you can take this cube upstairs, although I don't actually find much use for that. What I do is take the cube over to that side. If you see here, there's a grill on the floor, so if I take the cube through that grill, he's going to disappear. What you can actually do is raise him up high like this and come through. Now you have a couple of options here, but the main part of this test, and that's the piece that I actually haven't solved, is how to get the cube into that funnel while keeping yourself between these two laser drills so that you can somehow put the cube back on the button and go to the exit. I'm not sure how that works, and that's the brilliant part of this test. And I confess that I have not solved it, but again, if it were easy, it wouldn't be Portal 2. A few other things I want to point out. There's this portal thing in the ceiling here. It seems like that might be part of the final solution to get the cube to you, but certainly not for you to go through because you're just going to die. And nothing turns off that laser drill. There's this tower here, which you can use to destroy the cube, and it might be a timing puzzle just trying to beat the cube down there while somehow keeping this open where you could get back between these two lasers somehow. So I'll show you, if you drop the cube in there, the outside lasers activate. You have to be careful because the cube can sort of settle on that button. He may not ultimately even land there. But I have access to the exit. What I don't have is the cube. And even if I'd left a portal down there, I've done this many times, I don't have a portal up here. There's nothing portal that I can reach. And so this is the ultimate test right here. The point of this challenge was to show you how much you could do with very little. And definitely there were comments on the boards about, well, I think this is too many restrictions, but you can see here there's a very complex test, and I hope you can see with some of the other ones, you can do plenty of challenge even with very little direction. So, thank you Donderbus, thank you everybody for submitting. Congratulations to our winners and finalists for this week's Monday Madness Challenge. Thanks, and thanks for mapping.